Last week on Elevating Men.
About is the man discovers that this woman is talking to him any kind of way. You need to not say that to my son. Where you going? What time you gonna be back? Where's the bank card? Because I don't want you spending all the money at the. She's basically telling him what he is and what he is not going to do, because apparently he is not exhibiting the type of man that is supposed to be leading that house. So she is actually manning for him, and she's doing whatever she needs to do. She's telling him to go fix the leak in the faucet. He won't go do it. Next thing you know, she's carrying the plumber's tools, and she's going to fix stuff. But she's making stuff happen, and she's dogging him and downing him because he's not. And what he discovers is, damn it, you need to man the fuck down. You can't be just talking to me any kind of way. But what he's actually seeing is, damn, you're right. I am not doing those things. That's why you've become so loud and so vocal.
Because it all started with drinking a lot. Can't get up and go to work the next day, and those things like that. And where's the money coming from? We have kids. What's happening? And little by little, each day, the more. And I today I understand that the liquor he was drinking a lot to cover up a lot. So his father had a family on the other side of town. They looked good. His children, they didn't. And he was angry. And he took it all out on me. I didn't understand it then, but I understand it now. And that's how I was able to forgive him years. It took 30-something years for me to understand what he had went through. So
I gave birth first. I carried this seed. It was my job to protect this seed from the wrong ground. Just about anybody was willing to receive the seed, but it was my job to protect it. When I finally choose the ground, it is my job to take care of the ground. I didn't fully get this until my son going through puberty. He's 12 now. And I started exampling it in front of him.
Yo, good evening, everybody. Listen, I'm starting to think that Monday is like my favorite day of the week because I love these Monday night live streams. And if you do too, I need you to give us a like, a heart, give us a thumbs up, share it, let people know that you're here because it's a great conversation. We've been talking about the book, 10 Reasons Why Men Refuse to Say I Love You for the past several weeks. The conversations have been lit. If you've missed any of the conversations, you can go to our YouTube channel at Elevating Men. You can also go to our Facebook page at Elevating Men and catch up on the entire series. It's been amazing. And so before we get started, I always want to shout out my brothers because I'm not here by myself. And so to the right of me on your screen, we got the author of the book, AB. How you doing this evening?
Hey, I'm good. Good evening, everybody.
Right. And below us, we got one of my brothers from another mother. He was here a couple weeks back, Coach G. How's it going?
What's up, fam? Excited to be here, man.
Listen, so this isn't his first time being on anything like this. He actually has 2 of his own podcasts. Can you tell him a little bit about that?
Oh, absolutely. Misfits Manages on Tuesday nights at 8 o'clock. And Misfits Manages talks about is celebrating you being different, uniquely, unapologetically yourself. God made us completely different, and we should be who God created us to be. Unbreakable Souls is Saturdays at 3 o'clock, and it's just men talking about men stuff, helping men heal, helping men grow. It's just powerful. I'm loving it.
That's what we do. And it's the same thing here with Elevating Men. We believe that strong men build strong families and strong families build strong communities. But a lot of things start with thought. and thought begets conversation. And so that's what we do here. But let's get into the content for today. So we are at the end of the series. I hate to say that. But AB, can you tell us about chapters 9 and 10? What are they about?
Chapters 9 and 10 actually deal with the spirit of the man. We've already talked about his body in chapters 1, 2, and 3. We've talked about his flesh. We've talked about his mindset, how that was developed in 4, 5, and 6, and 7, 8, 9. Basically, they get into the spirit where the man actually discovers himself and his pain, his battle. So 8 and 9 actually deal deep into. In fact, 9 or 8. I want to read the last page of chapter 8, which is on page 190 for those of you who are following us. And it says, I believe that this pain and anger inside of me is what distracts me from choosing a path and walking it. One path is God's will, and the other path is free or my will. Can you say commitment issues? Basically, I'm not choosing to commit. I choose to straddle the fence. I choose to remain angry. I still find myself telling God to let me win because I'm just so sick and tired of losing.
Wow. Coach G, what did you hear there? Have you ever felt like that? What are your thoughts?
That is powerful, man. I think the word says a divided house cannot stand. And that's what I see. I'm hearing a double-minded man that sees two realities, and for whatever reason, fear, trauma, whatever the experience is, he's afraid to make a choice. You got to make a choice, man.
You do. That's one of those things where, even the title of the book is, 10 reasons why men refuse to say I love you. One of the reasons is we refuse because those words, I love you, it means now I have to commit. It means that now there's expectations. There's things that you're expecting from me because I say that I love you, which is the same reason that a lot of men don't plan. We talked about that a lot in this series. We don't plan because now we've made a commitment to ourselves. We do not like commitment. And so, Drew, as the author of the book, you thought this out very well. Why don't men like commitment? What's our problem with commitment?
So it's my opinion that men are in 3 battles at any point in time in their lives. The number one battle is man versus God, because man actually discovered himself at some point in his journey. Before he even knew who God was, he found himself. That may have been around 10, 11 years old, 12 years old. Hey, I'm the fastest on the block. I am. That was his first I am. Well, now he's battling with a God that has said, well, no, I am. So now the second battle is man versus man. That's that man versus outside of who he is versus inside of who he wants to be. So he has this internal struggle inside of him because he's discovered that there is another supposedly I am. And that I am actually is trying to tell him, dude, when you did that, this is what you got. Look at it. And the other person saying, man, forget that. I just messed up. I'm gonna do it better next time because I am. And he said, okay, keep doing it, but I am. And the last battle, that third battle, is when he takes on a partner, when he finds his helpmeet, or when he pretends to bring her into his fold. That third battle is when he is battling God, he's battling himself, and she actually sees him fighting. And all she wants to do is help him. All she wants to do is help him. So she rushes in to his battle. And she says, what's the matter? And he turns with all of his vehement, with all of his pain, with all of his anger, because he's still in a fight. And he can't calm down within that second. He says, nothing, leave me alone. And some of that pain pours all over her. And she actually does not understand. She reacts. She gets defensive. She says, hey, I was just trying to help. And now the two of them are in a battle. So those are those 3 battles. My question is, ladies, have you ever asked your man what's the matter? or men, have you ever been asked that question? What's the matter?
Mm.
Wow.
I know I definitely have. And at any point in time that there was anger, my response came from a place of anger. There was some pain that I felt when I was asked, what's the matter? Right. And it's because I didn't know. Either I didn't know, I couldn't really answer the question, or I knew what the matter was, but I knew that it was my fault and I didn't want to face it or admit it. D, have you ever been there?
Dude, man, I hear several things in that. And I actually want to add a fourth, because I think we worry so much about what people think. That's another battle, that we want to keep up with the Joneses, or we want to have this image that we want to portray to people of strength or financial freedom, whatever it is that you're fighting for. So I see that as the fourth battle. But I have to go back to the root cause. Why are men in a place where we even ask that question? Why? What happened that brought us to that space? A trauma? Was an experience that we realized that our thoughts, our feelings, our opinions didn't matter, or that we couldn't share them? What happened? What was the root cause of that?
Drew, any thoughts on the root cause?
So with this book, as the book actually says, before he even started his journey, there was pain, there was confusion, there was, hey, I'm starting to question myself, because now I'm running into more powerful men. I'm running into more smarter men. I'm running into more men who have it going on. And I don't necessarily know how they got there. And I don't necessarily know what to do about it, but I can't portray a weakness. So now I'm starting to question myself. So now I have to equip myself with things that make me look good and or feel good until I am good. So basically, he's broken before he even starts this journey.
I love that. I love that. For those of you that are just tuning in, we're talking about the book 10 Reasons Why Men Refuse to Say I Love You. I want you to stick with this, because this is the finale of the series that we've been going through for the past several weeks. If you're watching right now, if the audio is good, if you could just give us a like or a thumbs up, just so we know you guys are hearing us okay. And keep in mind that all of our shows are interactive. And so if you have any questions or comments, we'll put those up on the screen and we'll address them. What was the title of chapter 9? I don't have it in front of me.
Title of chapter 9 was
Can I throw something at y'all real quick?
Go ahead, please.
For sure.
Would you agree that we are so unbalanced because we don't have, AL, we talk about this all the time, that we don't have that Paul, that Barabbas, that Timothy in our life. The Paul being that person that feeds into us, that just pours into us. The Barabbas is our boy, our road dog, that person that holds you accountable. And the Timothy is that person that we ourselves pour into. I think a man is whole when he has all three of those pieces, and then you're unbalanced. We have tons of Pauls, or we have most men have Barabbases. We don't pour into our sons. We don't have anybody that's pouring into us. Everybody is on our same level, and we're all competing. We're supposed to be boys holding each other accountable, but we're all competing to be better than the next guy.
Mm-hmm.
So with that thought, and that's a beautiful thought. I'm 10 years old, and everybody around me is 10 years old, because the adults are not playing with us.
Right.
So my boys are 10 years old, and then we go into middle school at 11 and 12. And this is where the community starts to come together in this middle school. We're no longer in our grade school and top of the heap at sixth graders, but my boys are now still my boys. And then we run into other people who have their boys. So as we grow older and into our 20s, those guys are still my boys. And we're still saying, hey, dude, how many women did you get last night? Dude, hey, you scored that triple double last night. You the man. They are giving me accolades. They are keeping me grounded. They are keeping me pushed up, but only based on what we knew that was most important growing up. Did that make sense?
Oh, yeah. That's where we say that. Oh, go ahead.
Well, because I think that's a man who doesn't have that Paul. Because if that young man has a Paul in his life and he reflects on that thought to that older gentleman, or more seasoned gentleman in his life, he's going to correct him. And then he doesn't have the Timothy in his life, because surely he doesn't want to pour that kind of information out to his son or a younger version of himself.
Now, remember in chapter 2, I said that I learned how to manipulate. I learned which side I wanted to be on when I was younger, because that Paul was the one saw me doing wrong. And he said, hey, snap up.
Right.
That didn't feel good.
Right.
And when I'm 20 years old, that Paul is still trying to tell me what I need to be doing. And it still does not feel good. So I'm not listening to that Paul. I'm not, because it don't feel good. Does that make sense?
Mm. It's the blind leading the blind. It's the failure of our community. It's the failure of the men in our community. When I think about the neighborhood that I grew up in, there was probably about 12, 13 boys who were all about the same age. Out of that entire group, there was maybe 2 or 3 who had fathers in the home. And so we would be out, all times of night. My mother was a little bit more strict than the rest of theirs. And so there were some things that I missed out on. But it was literally the blind leading the blind. There were no men around. There was nobody giving us direction. We were just doing what we were doing. And so whenever you're in that situation, I love that point. You have a bunch of boys who are on the same level, leading each other down a path of destruction unknowingly. And like what Andrew said is, we only want to do what's fun. We don't want the discipline. We don't want to be reprimanded. We don't want our chain pulled. We don't want to be pushed in a different direction. And so we just all go as a pack in the wrong direction. And we see it in the streets now. That's why the murder rate's so high. That's why the crime rate's so high. There's nobody. Last night I was on the phone with Drew, stopped at the gas station. There were 3 boys, maybe between the ages of no more than maybe 17 to 20. They all had guns pulled out for no reason, just playing around, having fun with real guns, playing with real guns at a gas station. You know what I mean? I have a close friend of mine. He ended up losing his son. And we would say gun violence, but it wasn't that. It was playing with the gun. Gun went off. Friend was playing with it, shot him in the stomach. He lost his life. And so I say that to say that there's so many instances where young men are playing in real situations. And when they never have an adult or an older man to give them direction, they become adults who play in real situations. For an example, fatherhood or marriage. Those are real serious situations. But if we never have anyone who has helped us understand the gravity of the situations that we're in, everything is a game. Our relationship with women, it's a game. We have children, popping them out left, it's all a game. And so, I agree with everything you guys are saying. Drew?
I'm
sorry.
When I reflect back on my life and the times that I really went south was when I allowed the enemy to put me on an island by myself, where I didn't have that Paul, I didn't have the Timothy. And as you said, I went with my boys. My boys were saying this, my boys were saying that. And I just wanted to be like everybody else, because that pack mentality that we get to as men. But the challenge is, do you want to lead or do you want to follow? I mean, how long do you go down that path of destruction, as you just talked about? How long do we go down that path? At what point do we make a decision and say enough is enough? I don't want to do this, or I don't want to be like that anymore. I want more for myself. When does that kick in?
Well, see, this is where the mental health crisis comes in. This is why groups like Elevating Men exist. It's because we don't reach that point until we've hit our head so many times. We've ran up against that wall so many times. And now we have pain. We're filled with pain. We're hurting. Our head's throbbing from hitting it so many times that now we say, okay, wait a minute, I need to do something different. But the issue is, a lot of us don't reach that until we're in our 30s. A lot of us. So we hit our 30s. At this point, we have a bunch of responsibility. We have children. Maybe we've been married, been divorced. We've gone through a lot. And so when you look at the mental health of men, you look at the statistics, you look at the sudden heart attacks, by the age of 50, 60 years old, you look at how many men are depressed, you look at the suicide. When you look at all of those things, You can track it back to the fact that one, you had the blind leading the blind. You had a lack of accountability. You had a lack of responsibility. You have men who have played with their lives for too long. They've created their own pain, sometimes knowingly, sometimes unknowingly. You have self-medication that comes into play, whether it's drugs, alcohol, too much sex, all those different things. And now you've reached a point where it's like, my life is nothing. It's nowhere near the way that I intended. If you get a group of 16, 17-year-old boys right now, how many of them are saying, I want to work a job where I'm barely making ends meet, and oh, I can't wait until, be on child support, and man, I just can't wait for all the stress and trauma, and no, we're all saying, look, I'm gonna drive a nice car, I'm gonna have a condo downtown, I'm gonna be traveling all over the world, I'm gonna have a bunch of money. That's what we're saying. That's what we want. That's what we desire, but we don't know how to get there.
Yeah. You page 185 towards the end says, note, jail, hunger, homelessness, perpetual pain, and perpetual anger is not my idea of where I believe that I'm supposed to be. I know for a fact it's not where I want to be. My anger actually has me comparing myself to you in many ways, after all. You want the world to believe in you, and I want the world to believe in me too. Dang it. Hold on for a second. I got to go to the next page and I'm on my phone.
Why are you getting to that next page? We're going to keep the conversation going a little bit. I have a quick story I want to share. It was a couple weeks ago now. I was sitting with two men who are doing very well in life. One much younger than me, one a little bit older than me. And they were talking about the way they became successful. They talked about the discipline that their fathers instilled in them. They talked about the head start that they got, whether it was financial or through knowledge. And so that's why our job as fathers are so important. We say it all the time here. Strong men build strong families build strong communities. It's 100% true, but we have so many fatherless men out here. And outside of fathers, you got to think about, like, the uncle isn't there, right? The men have not stepped up. There's no uncle. There's no, we talked about, there was a lady that we had on at one point. She talked about, well, yeah, you even have coaches that, try to come in and they say, okay, well, I'm going to mentor your boys, but the majority of their focus is on the woman who's single that brought the kid there in the first place, right? And so as a community, men are failing society.
Yeah. So
Did you find what you're looking for?
Yeah. So we had the man saying, hey, you want people to believe in you. I want people to believe in me. The preachers say that you want no other gods placed before you. Well, hell, I want no other guys placed before me. I get jealous too. You want the world to follow your words and to keep them holy. I want her to do exactly what I say to do also. You want to be loved and worshiped. I want to be loved and worshiped. You just, and just about everything else that you want and demand, damn it, so do I. So I'm comparing myself. I'm so confused. I'm so angry. I'm so not God. And it pisses me off.
Wow. That sounded like we were having a conversation about how people get into relationships, and it goes from you being two individual people who have come together and you're sharing, feelings and moments and experiences, to you're mine, I own you, I control you, I have these expectations of you. And it is similar to saying, I want to be your God. Like, don't put anybody else before me. Wow. Gee, where do you think that comes from?
Lack of self-worth. Lack of self-worth. I think we just, I go back to the point you made at the beginning where I think it was AB, you were talking about that woman that's pouring into you, and we're just screaming, no, wait, and all that anger pours out onto her. We don't have the affirmation of a father that tells us who we are, that speaks into our life prophetically. And we allow TV, games, coaches, our friends, all these different means of stimuli to tell us who we are, and we're lost. We're just lost. It's a mess.
Yeah.
That's one thing that I would love to see is, by the time our young men reach high school age, before they make that transition into adulthood, some sort of like check-in or check-up. Like where's your mind before you like go on to this journey of adulthood where you're responsible for yourself and you can possibly create another life that you're responsible for? Let's do some sort of mental health check-in. I think that's something that definitely needs to be implemented. We got somebody backstage. If you can hear me, bro, we're getting ready to bring you on in a second. Big Unk is back. And so if you've been watching the last couple shows, he is hilarious, but he is also insightful. So he's brought in a lot of good perspective. If you're watching now, definitely share this podcast with your network. We want more people to join the conversation, and you can leave your comments and we'll make sure that we address those as well. But before we bring Big Unk in, we got a quick word from one of our sponsors.
Getting your CDL is more than just earning a certificate. It's about creating a balanced life and prioritizing what matters most. At Aries CDL Institute, we understand the importance of mental health, work-life balance, and spending quality time with your family. We're here to guide you into a rewarding career that not only supports your financial goals, but also allows you the flexibility to be there for your loved ones. Let us help you take the wheel of your future, because a fulfilling career starts with a healthy balance.
All right, so that was Aries Transportation and CDL School. They are actually one of our sponsors for our upcoming event, the Mental Health Town Hall. We're going to show you some information about that a little later in the broadcast. What's up, Big Unk? How you doing?
Man, it's been a long day.
It's been a long day.
Yes, sir.
All right, well, listen, man, we are glad to have you here, and I hope that this makes your day a little better. So we got a comment from the crowd. I want to go ahead and address that real quick. Gay Lynn, she is one of our big supporters. She's been rocking with us for years. I've seen her name so many times. We appreciate you so much. She asked the question, do you think it's control why grown men 50 plus need to have 2+ women at once? Ooh, who use God as their play to get with women, meaning acting holy, saying God sent, wanting women to fight over them.
Wow.
Do I think it's control? Anybody want to take that?
Big Unk, we're gonna put that on.
Man,
you.
that's a dirty situation. Why I come in on this? Okay. So there's a misperception that, and I'll speak on both sides, but there's a misperception that that's what's happening. A lot of times it's the oil that's on that man that draws women to him. He's not using God, but you have to realize that that's part of who he is. Now, speaking towards the men that are intentionally manipulating that situation, they're predators. And there's no other way around it. Yeah, they're predators.
Wow.
Anybody else want to add something to it?
Do you think it's control? Let's see here. If I know what my strength is, and I know that this woman, because in previous chapters, I've actually scouted her out before I even said anything to her. So I know what's going to work on her, or I have an idea what might work on her. So when I come to her meek and holy, I've already tapped into what I'm about to tap into, which is not only her mind, but soon her body. That's control. That's control, because I only do what I'm comfortable with. I only do what I know. I don't do anything outside of what I know, because that's not my comfort zone.
Okay. So if you just tapped in, real quick, if you guys just tapped in, there was a question that came from the audience. It basically asked about, men who are in an older age that use God or religion to get women. They use it as a form of manipulation. If you're watching, has that ever happened to you? Fellas, have you ever felt as if in hindsight, maybe you used, that spiritual power in a negative way? Let's talk about it.
So everybody wants to acknowledge when God does something good or pleasant in their life, but no one wants to read the entire Bible and realize that nobody in the Bible married for love. Everybody in the Bible married for position, God's will, or to be taught a lesson. That was it. Or financial stability. There was a time in the Bible where God told a prophet to marry a hoe. And this was a known hoe. Like, she was good at what she did, but
Right.
no one wants to acknowledge that part. There was also, we talk about Ruth and Naomi, but you talking about a man does it, but Ruth and Naomi knew the culture, and she purposely sent Ruth in there, unbeknownst to her. If he even put a blanket over her, then she would have been known as his wife. If she was seen leaving his house in the morning, booty call hours, walk of shame, that's your wife. You are now financially responsible for her as well as the mother. There are several situations where this has happened biblically, and it still takes place today, where someone will use their position with God. Like he said, I'm gonna lean in my strong lane and get what I want. Abraham used to tell people that Sarah was his sister. Wait till they try to holler at her, and then be like, "Hey man, what you doing with my wife?" And now they got to pay him. This is not anything new. You have to be diligent in making yourself strong. Don't accept pursuing someone that's coming at you in a lane where you already know that's not your strong suit.
Got a comment here from Amber Lucretia. Thanks for tuning in. We appreciate you watching. Make sure you share the stream as well. She said, any man claiming God sent him, automatic red flag, and I'm running. Can you give us a little bit more context though? Because if it says, what is it? What is it? Y'all know the Bible better than me. What God put together. What's that? Okay,
That finds a wife finds a good thing and obtains favor from the Lord. But okay. The Bible also says that the steps of a good man is ordered by the Lord. Let's be specific. It says a man that finds a wife. So he's doing his job, but it never said that God showed him. It says he went out and found it. And the Bible didn't say this man was good or bad, just said he was a man. That's all he had to qualify as being. But if you're being a wife, that means that you're under a covering. That means that God is going to protect you and God is going to expose who he is. So all you got to do is sit back, be pretty, and wait.
All you got to do is sit back and be pretty and wait. And on that note, now we getting ready to argue. We're getting ready to battle.
Let's go.
Here we go. I want somebody in the audience to look up Job 2, verse 3, because this one messes me up. This one messes me up because these people out here who are trying to be, holy and walk that path. Then the Lord said to Satan, dude sitting right there
with the wife. Yeah.
Have you considered my servant Job? So then the Lord said to that dude, hey, have you considered my girl over there? She's trying her best to walk faithful. I want you to go and see who she chooses, you or me.
Ladies.
Here's the thing. When we get back to this, it's still the man's fault. Go ahead.
But wouldn't you say?
I agree.
Wouldn't you say we talked about earlier about the man being double-minded, trying to be in this place and that place all at the same time? Mm-hmm. So, yeah, you get caught in a situation like that. But I think the true man of God then steps back and says, or retreats and says, no, this is wrong, and pivot and pulls away and tries to do the right thing.
Whoa. You said something similar to, and then the true man of God steps back.
I feel like there's in situations like that, if it's a true man of God.
So
reality steps back and you take a step back. I mean, we all fail, we all sin, we all fall short. But I think when you catch yourself in a situation like that, you pivot out.
So just so we're clear, I stepped in. I'm a true man of God, and I stepped into her, and it was good. But then
I'm not talking about sexually. I'm just talking about pursuit.
Okay, pursuit. Okay. I stepped into her world, and I had her mind, because sex is nothing but whatever my mind tells her to give me.
Right.
It's friction.
I stepped into her world, and I had her mind. But then after I captured her, after I did what I wanted to do as a true man of God, I said, wait a minute, this ain't right. Did I know that before or after?
Can I?
Yes.
So So
In the house.
let me just say. So I have encountered since we've been doing this, different ones that came at me and they said straight up, they said, hey, you use vulgar language. Hey, you've been on there talking about this and talking about that and talking raunchy and all this, that, and the other. But these same people don't know their own Bible. So when we say, will a man of God do these things? We don't even know what the Bible says the requirement for marriage is. It's simply that he enters a woman under his own roof, or that someone sees her leaving his house, or that he provides protection or covering for her. And so has he really done anything wrong? No.
Well,
And the Bible actually says these things.
what about
So what's biblical versus what is culturally religion is two different things.
But what about Ephesians when it says that he's going to love her like Christ loved the church? And supposedly
That's in a marital context.
but I thought
Yes.
that's what he was talking
I
about.
think that's confusing. That's in a marital context. They're not talking about dating.
So
No,
So what that is saying, because keeping it in context, what it's saying is you will love her as Christ loved the church. So you will care for her. You will put yourself up to be the sacrifice for her. You will begin to live for her instead of for your own personal gain. What does this mean? Within context, it means that once a man enters a woman, just like the God, this is crazy. Eve came out of Adam, but Adam didn't know Eve until he went into her. Because then it said, and Adam knew Eve. To know someone, to be intimate with them, to provide covering, to be the sacrifice for them to have a better life, seeking the highest good for them. So once a man enters a woman, then at that point, that scripture is applicable. That scripture ain't applicable until you get some booty.
All right. Listen, for those of you that are just tuning in, we are talking about the book 10 Reasons Why Men Refuse to Say I Love You. Galen set the stream on fire with her question. on fire. So we got another comment here from Amber Lucretia. Thank you for the comment. We appreciate it. It says the context would be we as women have a responsibility to know when evil is knocking at our door. Far too often we place blame on men because they have Casanova their way into our hearts and panties, and we're willing volunteers yet claim to be victims.
Powerful, Amber.
Let's talk about that because here we talk about male accountability. She has introduced female accountability. Somebody talk about it.
Now, you know, I can't talk about that because I'm all about.
So there cannot be female accountability without there being male accountability. And what I mean by this is when the father is out of place, then she does not know what it looks like to even entertain or to have a male figure in her life that she can submit to. So when this man comes, he's introducing a brand new situation to her, and he's taking advantage of that. And so again, that man, if you give a shit about who you're trying to be with, take the time out to see what her history looks like so that you can know what needs you need to fulfill. Now we're talking about God. So if he's been led by God to be in her life, he'll have the tools necessary to help in the healing process, because nobody heals on their own, unpopular to, popular belief nowadays.
Hey,
But
Andrew,
nobody heals on their own. So that man has to be accountable to search out the tools to be with the woman that he's desiring.
Hey, Andrew.
So what? Go ahead.
Cut right now. Rewind and play that again.
So what will we tell our daughters? Let's just be real. What are some red flags when it comes to men? What are some red flags? And so, we've already heard, if he claims that God sent him, that's a red flag for me. If he has, 2 more women, that's a red flag. But if we were talking to our daughters, I don't know. But if we were talking to our daughters and we were saying, okay, listen, a man can come to you, he can wine and dine, you can say all the right things, but this is what you look for to know if it's real or not, to know if you're just being tested by God or if this is the man that God sent you. How do they know the difference?
So one, God does not test you with relationship. Relationship is our own responsibility. Again, nobody in the Bible married for love. Even Paul wrote and said that it was easier for me to serve God without a wife.
Right.
God honors, well, I can show you in the Bible where God don't honor marriage. So let me not even lie. If a man is with a woman because this is all he could get, that treatment's going to be different once he builds himself up, because union is two parties seeking the highest good for each other. So everybody exchanges something that elevates them. So for me, my daughter, I'm going to tell her, listen, if that man ain't got like 4 or 5 that he can pick from, and he know for sure you what he want, then when he get 4 or 5 he can pick from, now he's got to go back out there and reevaluate. And that's what he's going to do, unfortunately. So I would tell my woman, like, don't get the dude that don't nobody else want. Get the dude that wants you above everybody else.
Right.
Dude,
That's solid.
that sounded so good. But that first part, golly, you said something similar to God don't test relationship. Is that what I heard?
Yeah, you heard me say that.
Dang,
Okay. So
I'm thinking,
in the Bible,
go ahead.
Joseph was already betrothed to Mary. This was his second wife. We know that she was also about the age of 16. We also know that she was still a virgin. So there was a dowry gift, which is 1 year's worth of the woman's worth before she marries the man. So he has to work for 3 years in order to even be able to marry her. Actually 4, because you got to save 3. And then on the 4th, you get to give a year income to the father, give a year income, show that you have it for you and show that you have it for her, because the next year you can't work.
Right. Once you're married. Right.
God did not honor their union. Contractually, she was already his. And God said, my agenda, this is why God is sovereign. My agenda goes above your contract. Who cares if you're already betrothed to her? I've chosen for her to be the vessel that bears my child. This is scripture. No one wants to talk about it or preach about it, but it's scripture. And so God, they say the spirit hovered over her and she became pregnant. And then when he decided to exercise his right and say, I'm going to put her away. It was supposed to be a writ of divorce, because our oppressors Rome was doing a census. And so you had to have a contract showing that you given her enough money to sustain herself or to start a new life. And so it was his right to do so. And God sent the messenger, which if we really study the Bible, the messenger was Christ. So Christ literally stepped out of the womb, stood there in front of Joseph and said, no, what you're going to do is marry my mama. You're going to take care of her. You're not going to touch her. And you're going to travel with her, but you still ain't going to touch her, although you're going to be married to her, because you're providing protection and all the other biblical laws that says that you're married. You're going to honor those. And then after I come out, you're still going to wait, because that's what it says in Deuteronomy. And then after that, you will be able to consummate the marriage. God completely overstepped every right that Joseph had as a husband and as a groom. The duty of the groom is to pick one up and to clean her up and present her better than what he found her. Joseph was never given that opportunity.
So I'm getting ready to say something, and I'm going to apologize because I don't know the Bible.
Oh, you all right? I apologize.
No. However, I think I'm leaning under my own understanding. I think that that God is about relationship, and he interferes with the relationship.
Mm-hmm.
And the relationship is not between man and woman. The relationship is between God and man, because the woman is only man's helpmeet.
Mm-hmm.
So when God made man and gave him woman, the test between that relationship was when he actually said, so Satan, I want you to go and do what you do, to see what Adam will do, if he will choose me or if he will choose him. Because that relationship was between God and Adam. And throughout the Bible, that relationship was with God and Joseph. That relationship was with God and that man, to see and to see if that man would remain faithful to his God or choose himself.
So, sir, you are 100% right. And because they don't teach this anymore, we have a lot of people that have been led astray. They're being deceived by men that are coming in using the guise of the knowledge that they receive versus the revelation that they have, because revelation takes relationship, and we don't have it anymore. Our relationship with God has been tainted. You are 100% right. It has to be our accountability to our relationship with God. God is for a relationship, but God is going to do what God wants to do to get his agenda accomplished.
Yeah.
My word for that is alignment. Alignment. I feel like the Lord is for relationship. He supports relationship, but he supports relationships that are aligned to his will. So we as men or women, whatever we want to say, jump into situationships or relationships, whatever you want to call those, on our own accord. But I feel like the Lord comes to bring correction and realign you back to the right person that you're supposed to be with.
Hey, Andrew.
So Gary, if I could ask you, sir,
yeah, brother.
Why didn't Job's wife get touched? This woman was walking around in full health, ain't missed a meal, her clothes were clean, everything else going to shit. But when it came to Job, it's like, hold on, and get this. How is it? We read right past it, and AL said it. We read right past it, where Satan went and said, "I've been going to and fro, looking who I can devour." He said, "Have you tried my servant Job?" He didn't say, "Have you tried his wife?"
Right.
And then he said, "Well, you can touch everything around him but him." Why did he touch everything around him but the wife and him? He left the wife right there. You want to know why? Because a lot of women nowadays, they seek men to be the provider when God is supposed to be the provider. What do you say, Gary?
I agree with that. But I think we've got provider, speaking of that word, I think we got provider wrong. That's not just a financial transaction. I think a man that's a provider is a visionary. The one who maybe hasn't accomplished the goals or the dreams yet, but has a pathway that's God ordained, it's been given to him by the Lord, and he's moving forward into those steps, taking the steps to move forward into that future. That's to me a provider.
So Andrew, we're at 46 minutes in this thing already, and we still got to get through chapter 10 and the end of the book.
Man, listen. And I don't even know if everything we just talked about was really chapter 9. I think that just it was some good conversation. Yeah, we went into that question.
No. It was most definitely chapter 9, because chapter 9 was really, the man has been accountable in this book, or he's coming into accountability. Yeah. But in chapter 9, imagine your man on the way to getting his shit together, and then the thing that he comes in conflict is the church, and everything that the church is teaching, and everything the church is preaching. And so now, because there's all these fallacies in the word, the woman ain't even part of this, but she's the thing in the middle, getting pulled both ways. And he's trying to figure out, they up here teaching my wife lies, they stealing money out my house. We are not truly what they want. They want us to support their names, when the Bible said that I'll make your name great amongst men. But hold on, amongst men, but ain't I supposed to be the man in her life? And so now the church has immediately became enemy number one to this man. So even if he becomes accountable, he gets all his stuff together until the church.
He's still subject to the pastor.
Dudes, you read the book.
So I'm not putting any names out here, but I have, since we've done this, I have received 5 people that have been in my inbox and have complained about my language. They've complained about my tactfulness, all that, but they don't even know the word themselves. And these are pastors and these are elders that have come at me. There's no such thing as profanity in the Bible. And they don't even know the history to know that the white man came into the church and manipulated the church. And the 5 things that had to be done, this is right after sharecropping and Jim Crow law, was we had to prove that we had control of the church in order to allow them to come in and give us protection. By that, we had to be in suits. We can no longer use strong language. We can no longer talk about politics. We can no longer hold town hall meetings. And we also had to have a degree. Now, how are you going to have a degree? And this is doing segregation, and we couldn't even get into the colleges. But these pastors nowadays, they are still operating off of that same manipulation that came from the white church coming in, saying if you do this, then, and then that's where you got your Second Missionary Baptist. Missionary meaning sent out of the white church. But nobody's studying. And so this is still the book. Because nobody is studying, they don't know that the word jazz used to mean the same thing as the F word. You used to not be able to say it in public. Depending on the land you stand in or the time that you're in, now there's profanity. But and I say this, and I said I was going to say this when I came on, because there are some saved people that when I presented this book and I said, man, all you got to do is listen to the podcast. You'll get a free copy. Oh, well, nah, it's raunchy. It's this. No, it's truth. In spirit and in truth. There's nothing vulgar about it. You live in it. You out there fucking, but you mad we up here talking about you fucking?
Right.
This is the gospel. Matter of fact, and I'm gonna shut up. There is a young man. He is homosexual, and he has now started contacting me because I let him watch one of these episodes, and we talked about word for word what was said in the show, and it was the comment about a young man only having his looks in his dick. But now that young man that was dealing with homosexuality is saying, he asked me, is it a sin? Well, nobody broke it down to me like that before. Well, what else? This book has opened up other areas of accountability that never would have been reached coming through the church, because the church is still being manipulated by the success that they're trying to obtain.
Wow.
We got to stop right there. We got to stop right there. Like, we got to digest that. And there's a comment here when we come back from our commercial break from Amber Lucretia. We're going to address that comment, and then we're going to get into chapter 10. Big Unc, you are on fire tonight. Don't let up. We'll be right back.
Hello, my name is Damon Daniel, President and CEO of the Ad Hoc Against Crime. For those who are unfamiliar with Ad Hoc, we're a nonprofit organization that works with individuals, families, and communities impacted by crime and violence. And I'm super excited about the Elevating Men Town Hall meeting on mental health. This is so important for our communities. Mainly the reason why it's important to me is because the majority of people who are impacted by violence in our community looks like me. And then I want to make sure that folks really kind of get over those stigmas associated with mental health. And so the resources and the voices that are available at this conference are going to be super important for people to grow their understanding and even access to mental health services. So big shout out to Elevating Men and their effort to leverage mental health services to the community. Thank you.
Hi, my name is A.L. Johnson with Elevating Men. There's a mental health crisis in Kansas City, and on Saturday, September 28th from 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. at the Mohart Multipurpose Center, we're going to have a mental health town hall. The goal is for us to bring together mental health advocates, professionals, lawmakers, and the general public to address these issues. We need to see you there. So, people, the videos that you just saw were referencing our mental health town hall that's coming to you September 28th at the Mohart Multipurpose Center. We're bringing together lawmakers, the general public, mental health therapists, mental health advocates. We're getting all in the same room so we can talk about the mental health crisis in Kansas City. And we always talk about coming together. We say that, the community won't come together. People in Kansas City don't work together. And so I'm going to read to you really quickly a list of our sponsors to show you that that's absolutely not true. So our sponsors include Aries Trucking and CDL Institute. You saw their commercial earlier. Reach Healthcare, Swope Health, Resolve Counseling, the Center for African American Health, the Oasis Church, Dreammaker Society, the City of Kansas City, Missouri, Health Forward Foundation, the Full Employment Council, the Restoration, A.L. Johnson Life Insurance Agency, and Ad Hoc Group Against Crime. On our panel, we have therapist Caleb Adegoke, Jessica Doan, Chandra Green, Tony Vaughn. We have Nicole Garner, the Executive Director of the Center for African American Health, State Representative Mike Johnson, Senator Barbara Ann Washington, as well as Damon Daniels, the President of Ad Hoc. And so if you want to be a part of this event, it is 100% free. We're going to drop the link in the description so that you can go ahead and reserve your free seat. So hold on. Big Unc, I listen, I can't even recap everything you said because you said a whole lot there. And so for those of you who are just tuning in, make sure you rewind to the first half of this conversation because it was amazing. So we got a comment from Amber Lucretia. Oh my goodness, here we go. Says, I believe it's important for a woman to know herself before she attempts to know another. From there, when a man comes along, just sit back and watch what he does. Allow his actions to speak if he is the right man for you. Then have your community vet the man, fathers, brothers, uncles, friends, etc. Your community should be able to speak to that man being the correct one for you. The issue I have in my family, we are mostly women and we have no men. We have boys and males, not men. And that's what we were talking about at the very beginning. As men, we have failed society. We have failed our communities. And so I 100% agree with that statement. Does anybody want to touch on that at all? You said that was pretty self-contained. That was pretty self-contained.
Well,
Hey, she said it. She said it. Got a comment from Gay Lynn. She wanted to ask Coach G. So yeah, you said something about accountability earlier. She said to get that alignment, do you feel accountability is vital? What are your thoughts on that?
absolutely, that we have to take responsibility for our actions. We have to take accountability for our actions and be responsible. That's what I was talking about earlier when I was talking about when you realize you've made mistakes or you've made bad decisions. It's okay to pivot out of that. And I think you pivot out of that as quickly as possible. Repent. We all make mistakes. We all make bad choices and make bad decisions. But I think when the realization of that decision is made, then you get out, you change.
Yeah.
You seek the alignment that you've been looking for.
So forgive me for Amber Lucretia. I was reading something else, which I didn't get the gist of her comment, but yeah, I think you asked a question, something similar to what do we tell our women, our little girls about dating and all. That's just when a man approaches you. If that man does not want to meet your father or the man in your life, that's a red flag.
Yeah.
And if there is no man in your life that is ready to meet somebody who wants to date you, that's a red flag. We got so many red flags. And what she's talking about is that man is missing, because what happens is, it's just my opinion, when a male actually sees that uncovered woman, he looks around, he looks left, he looks right, he looks high, he looks low. And if he does not see another domineering man near or around her, he sees his advantage to pounce. But when there is another male around her, he pauses, because he does not know if that man is going to put his hands on him the way he put his hands on that woman.
Yeah, it's the same accountability that we were talking about earlier that young boys run from. So that's why they just hang with their boys. They don't want anybody above them that's accountable or can administer any discipline or put them in their place. And so it's the same thing when it comes to dating. Let me find this woman who's out here by herself, who's uncovered, so I can get away with whatever I want to, and nobody's going to hold me accountable for it. So I agree. Gay Lynn, I guess she wanted you to expound a little bit. She said, how is that accountability? No, I'm saying about being honest. If you can give us some context, I'm not sure, but Gary, did you want to address that?
No, go ahead, Gary.
Go ahead on.
So
Interested to hear what you got to say on that one.
the accountability, that's not something that comes easy. Usually accountability for a man that has either not had male role model, so hasn't had a blueprint, or he's exceeded his. I've dealt with a man recently. He said it was hard for me to listen to my dad because I got out there in the streets and I was selling dope and made more money than I seen my dad ever bring home. There was a young man, I got him on at a job today, and the job ran over. The door was defective. It was not our fault. We did everything we could. And this young man is a felon. And I saw him humble himself because he wants to be able to provide for his kids. When the owner of the company came in, was snapping, he again said, man, when we got back in the truck at the end, he said, man, I have to tell you, I had to check myself. I was wrong because this is his company and this is an opportunity that I need. He had to have accountability. But when there's no one there to show him what it looks like, and I was there in the seat right next to him, and I thank God for this because I was able to turn to him and say, hey, man, I had to do the same thing. I knew this man because I came to his house to fix his house when working for myself. When things went left, I had to take a step back, humble myself. Men can't be accountable if they've never experienced being humble.
So with that said, if you all are following page 193, the bottom, it says, and the angrier I get, the less I begin to think. Dang it. The less I begin to think, the more I begin to, and the more I begin to feel. And when I'm in my feelings phase of my battle against God, my actions become more and more reckless and spite-filled. And this, my dear, this is usually the point where you enter my battle and you distract me from my true enemy. This is usually the point where you enter my battle and distract me from my true inner me, because I am battling myself. And all you're asking is, what's the matter? That's all you're asking is, what's the matter? And then it goes on to explain every chapter when she actually walked into the middle of my battle. Chapter 1, God was keeping me. And this woman walked into, so chapter 1 says, God knew that I was so frustrated with my own uncontrollable situations and that I was looking to express myself and my frustrations through meaningless, angry intercourse with someone, anyone. I was focused on the fact that God was keeping me from doing what I and who I wanted to do. Then you enter into my picture asking me, what's the matter? Well, what's the matter is that was enough to distract me from my fight with God. And since you were not gonna stop nagging me until I gave you my attention, I gave you my wrath-filled attention. Now I'm focusing on you, your choice of clothing, your lack of support of me, and my lack of control over you during this war. Well, that's when my strong lust-filled desire to bust a nut said, use your wrath, and vehemently accuse her of not wanting to comfort you, no longer wanting to care for you, and not being available to relieve you. Guilt trip her ass. So I did.
For those of you that are just tuning in and are wondering what he is reading, this is the book right here, Top 10 Reasons Why Men Refuse to Say, I Love You. Big Unc, you have something you want to say?
Hey, man will never win the battle against God until we accept that we have become our own God. You can't have God in your life and then you be God of your life. Now they're going to fight because somebody got to leave that position. And to win the battle with God means that you join God. As Gary said, you have to align yourself. So God will give you the desires of your heart, but that's after you have renewed this right mind and this heart that's in me. So let this heart that's in me be the heart that's in Christ. Let this mind that's in me be the mind that's in Christ. So we desire the same, but as long as you desire this other little list, and God is over here like, I'm supposed to be God, but you in my seat. Same way we don't want to have to fight a woman out of our seat. God has started having to fight men out of his seat.
I believe it. You're freezing up a little bit. I don't know what you need to do there as far as the connection, but you froze up a couple times, so you kind of check that. We did have a comment from Shao76. She's tuning in on YouTube. We appreciate you. She said, gratitude. Thank you for sharing knowledge, and I greatly appreciate the diversity of everyone's life journey. Much needed conversation and content. Peace, love, and blessings, family. Peace, love, and blessings to you as well. We appreciate you tuning in. Amber Lucretia, another comment there. She is bringing it. Thank you. We appreciate your comments. She said, healing starts with being okay with being alone. Healing starts with being okay with being alone. We're in a society where people want to heal with a brand new relationship versus sitting with self, facing the man in the mirror and dealing with who that person is and isn't. Healing is all about self, and most don't deal with them, but expect others to. The audacity. Let's talk about that a little bit. I love the level of accountability that she's bringing to the conversation.
Yes.
How often do we, and we talked about this in the last couple segments, how often do we relationship hop because we're afraid of being alone, and now we have to look at that person in the mirror and say, hey, this is the problem. I'm the problem. It wasn't that person. It was me. It was my emptiness. It was me trying to fill a void. Maybe it was me being manipulative. Maybe it was me self-medicating. Because a lot of times we talk about self-medication and we're talking about, drinking, drugs, and sex. Sometimes that self-medication is just the touch of another human being. Sometimes that self-medication is that relationship that we know that we're not supposed to be in. It's a form of medication. So can we talk a little bit about that?
For me, with that, that's what I was talking about earlier. That's that man that's reached a place in life where enough is enough. He's tired. He's sick and tired of being sick and tired. He's sick and tired of being unhappy. He's sick and tired of making foolish decisions. He's sick and tired of running into the wall. And the common denominator in all of those situations or issues when he looks in the mirror is himself or herself and whatever that situation is. And now you got to deal with you. That was my situation. Being in a relationship that as I healed, I realized how much of myself I had given up in that relationship. And then I meet someone else who pours into me the way that that other person should have poured into me. But then finding myself, catching myself being double-minded between the two and realizing neither situation is alignment for me and pulling out. And when I pulled out, that's when the journey through the darkness, I feel like every man has to go through that journey of darkness, but in that pivot and pulling out, I had to deal with shame. I had to deal with guilt. I had to deal with embarrassment, all these negative things. But what came out of that was the true man of God. What poured out of me, it created that alignment to put myself in a situation to receive. A couple of weeks ago, I talked about receiving your queen. I wasn't in a place to receive a queen at that time. But by taking that time to step back and heal and grow and reflect and do work on myself, looking in the mirror, working with the Lord, praying, fasting, getting counseling, doing all the things that were necessary, it placed me in a situation where I was aligned with all the things the Lord wanted me to. And then look up and there's the queen that I've desired my entire life right there.
Wow. It takes time. Like we all go through there's a learning curve that we have as men, as people, as human beings. We don't get it right the first time. And so it happens. It happens.
One of the things that you mentioned when I think you said something, forgive me because I can't quote all this stuff. Then you pull out. And that right there, a lot of men don't know, and I'm using this metaphorically, a lot of men don't know that when they pull out, some of that semen of pain is still potent enough to impregnate her with some of that pain. Mm-hmm. Even though we're not necessarily in her, but when you pull out thinking that, hey, I didn't put that pain in you. That was somebody else. There was a little semen. It was enough to put some pain in them. And the thing is, we need to realize that we are the start, the first cause, because we are the man. And that's just my opinion, because women are waiting to be found.
Go ahead, Big Unc.
So there's a passage in the Bible where the brother and the responsibility of impregnating the dead or the deceased's wife fell upon the next brother. And we know this woman had to be ugly because he said, I'll sleep with her, but I don't want to be responsible for her. And this was after the first brother was like, man, I don't even want to touch her. And in this passage, the man pulled out. When his semen hit the floor, God killed the man. It was because he wanted all the pleasure of being with her, but he was trying to escape all the responsibility of being with her. The very act of pulling out is the act of enforcing pain upon this woman. You've just caused her pain. Now, as far as that woman's comment, I agree and I disagree. Nobody heals on their own.
Right.
If you could do that, you would be on a planet by yourself. Do the work while you're in the relationship. The same way you can relationship hop, you can stay your tail right there. Be transparent. Be strong enough to say, you know what, baby, it ain't you with me. I'm wrong and I'm going to get right. I'm going to be accountable. I'm not going to leave you, get myself together, and then reward the next woman with all the trials and pain that you've been through with me. No, I'm going to get myself right. And you will have the first opportunity because I'm going to stand right here. I'm going to stand my ground as a man and I'm going to do what it takes. But a lot of times we don't do that. When I finally did that, I started seeing all these doors started opening up for me. The woman did still leave, and that's her right. And
Right.
we as men have to respect that. But you have to do the work where you're at. When you find yourself wrong, don't run. Fix it right there.
Dude. So just for so we get through the book, because he's hitting on all these points. The woman did leave, he said. So, like I said, chapter 1 through 9 talked about this woman. She's always coming to me saying, "What's the matter?" And she gets right in the middle of this battle. But in chapter 10, God knew my pain and anger was out of control. God knew my lack of understanding was my own issues were becoming dangerous to me as well as others. God knew that I needed to be humbled. Then you exited my picture. You did not ask me what's the matter. You did not ask me anything this time because you were just as sick and tired of me as I was with me in this thorn. That was enough to make me realize that it was way past time that I grew up and learned how to tell you exactly what's the matter with me.
So really quick, Big Unk, before you go in, because I know you're about to go. So I gotta rev you down for just 1 second. So right now, I believe what we're talking about a little bit is transformation. Like how do we as men grow to that next level of manhood so that we can actually be accountable, so that we can learn to be honest, so that we can be the right type of man to the right type of woman. I just want to put this up here really quick. This Saturday is our Man Cave Prayer Breakfast. This is where we learn, we heal, we grow together as men, because none of us are where we need to be 100%, because if that were the case, then the community wouldn't be the way that we see it. And so that's why this is so important. It's 100% free breakfast. You come in 8:30 a.m. until about 11. And we're talking about some great things. So this month we actually have Brother Michael Long, and that is exactly what he's going to help us do. He's going to talk about healing and transformation. Actually, Big Unk is going to be there saying a few words as well. And we have our very own LaRon Barnes. He's a life coach and motivational speaker. And so for any men who want to be in attendance, you just RSVP through the Elevating Men page and we will save a seat for you. Big Unk.
So the woman did leave. Maybe miss some of my thoughts. But in this scenario, there you go. Thank you, Lord. God, you good. So the man has to first see himself somewhere that he desires to be. And when I'm saying see him somewhere that he desires to be, it's not at a place of employment. It's not at a seat of power. It's not with a certain type of woman. It's not in a certain type of car. He has to see himself healed. He has to have the vision of him being healed before he can actually get on the path to it. How can he have a direction if there's no place?
Right. Mm-hmm.
So if the goal, oh man, I just told somebody this. I said, yo, that's a weak man. She was like, what you mean? I said, if the only motivation for him to have a nice car, have a nice job, have a nice house is to get some pussy, then even if he obtains it, he don't have it because it ain't for him.
Right.
It's for her. So if the goal of you getting better is to keep her, bro, you want to know what's so sad is that you're not even manipulating her. You're manipulating yourself. And she's a subsidiary consequence of your own manipulation.
Dude. AB, expound on that a little bit, because you're laughing a little too hard, man.
Hey, he said enough. Really, truly, he said enough. I'm just trying to get through the book because we won 15 into this already. And,
Yeah,
I
yeah.
apologize.
yeah, Big Uncle was talking about how people were talking about his cursing, and on page 206, it actually says, "Oh yeah," and with regards to the use of the explicative language, are you aware that all the cursing displayed in this book is not directed at you, nor is it even describing you? Whenever I cursed, that was exactly what I was doing. I was placing a curse upon myself, my world, my everything. I was screaming at God. I was telling God just what I thought. I was telling God just what I thought of of all the so-called blessings that I was given charge of. I was rejecting God's gift to me. I was dissatisfied with the life's path that God had chosen for me. I was angry with myself for being so damn disobedient and screwing up my life. With all of the feelings and emotions, I was screaming out for help, understanding, and peace. In the beginning was the word. So when I use the word bitch, that's what I began to do. When I use the word fuck, I began to fuck my world up. That's what I was doing.
Wow.
The word shit is a safety acronym. It means store high in transit. They were transporting feces, and the butane gases were building up, and then an unsuspecting sailor would go up under it with a lantern, and then it would explode and kill everybody on deck. So they type shit on the side of it, and because of that, that would help them to know store this one high in transit, so no one would die. So it's crazy that these people want you to stop using this strong language, because the word fuck, the origins of it means to flog, which means to hit. They want us to stop using this because they claim that we're cursing, but nobody stops a man from speaking curses over himself or his brother when we say you ain't shit. When we say, oh, he's weak. When we say, oh, you only as good as you can fuck. When we say, oh, you only worth as much as what's in your pocket. Those are curses. And we as men have to stop speaking those curses over ourselves. Stop worrying about somebody saying, hey, man, what the fuck's up? And worry about them saying, man, I just can't get right.
Words are power. Words are power. Renisha Cunningham, thanks for tuning in. We appreciate you. She said, wow, cursing myself. That is deep. Absolutely. Absolutely. Man, listen, this book has been a journey. Go for it. Let's go.
Hold on.
Found another nugget.
Yeah, page 212. Okay. When the woman actually comes and says, what's the matter? That what's the matter question is still ringing in my ears. What's the matter? Now I start to figure out the matter. Matter, substance, material. I look up the word. Matter, substance, material, stuff, stock. A substance that has rest or mass, composition. What's the matter? And I use the word, I take the word, what's my matter? What is my material? What am I made from? That's what she's asking me. Dude, what are you made from in this situation? What are you going to do based on what you are made from? I didn't know my material. I don't know my worth. I don't know what I'm made from.
You can take a lump of coal and you can use it to hold something up, just to fill space. You can use it as fuel to make an engine go. You can use it as fuel to warm a house so a family will be able to sustain themselves. Or you can be patient, leave it where it's at, apply pressure, and it become a diamond. The matter is not the issue, it's the use of it. It don't matter if the matter is trash. I could be a horrible man, but within all those horrible traits are some good things about me. If I can just figure out how to apply it the correct way, then that matter will fulfill its purpose.
I can't wait till Saturday, man. I cannot wait. Don't come in Saturday with anything less than this energy you got tonight. I'm loving it. I'm loving it. That was a mic drop moment right there. Listen.
Gary, why are you laughing so hard?
Dude, this last point, please.
Dude, I can't
Okay, so look. So we're at an hour 20. We're at hour 20. We got to get ready to wrap up, but I know there's some things that you all want to say. So I'm going to give everybody the floor one last time. Say everything that you need to say. AB, I'll start with you.
Dang it. Okay. All right. So page 217. Let's see. Blah, 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 blah. Okay. So what the lady's now asking, you done did all this introspection and reflection. So what the hell am I supposed to do to help you and not piss you off? Okay. See, this is a classic example of someone who reads and ingests only what she reads. Blah blah blah. I'm going to say this very slow. Chapter 1, desire me. Chapter 2, stop being so. And then I said, hold up. Everything that I was about to type would have only solidified the fact that I was still placing the blame on you. All I really need from you at this point is for you to simply reread the book. This time, read it very, very with very, very little emotion. Read it for understanding. And lastly, it says, honestly, if you find some of your actions and behaviors towards me may actually be intentional or motivated, then hey, you might want to look deeper into yourself as to your own why. But the last thing it says, and maybe, just maybe, there's one thing that you can do for me. The only thing you can do for me is forgive me, please.
Glad we got to that point. I'm glad we got to that point. Forgiveness is key. Coach G, any final thoughts? Last words.
I love that, AB. Again, my word right now is alignment. Alignment has wrecked my life, where I'm not making the choices for myself because I'm looking, I'm sensing, I'm feeling, is this the right situation, in business, in relationship, in all areas of my life. I'm just full of alignment. And I think when I slowed life down, I took accountability, I took responsibility for my actions. I walked that path of healing. And some would say that's a journey of darkness, but there's jewels along the way, which I would call jewels of the journey, that you only get when you walk in that space of darkness. I think every man at some point in his life has to walk that journey of darkness, because again, there's lessons that you can only gain from that journey. But coming out of that, you're heightened, your senses are heightened, your thoughts are sharper, your vision is clear. I think, when we talk about self-worth and seeing yourself in a certain way, I think when you've done that work, and then that person comes, I feel like I did a lot of work on myself. I went through a lot of healing on my own and realized my value, but I don't think I really realized how valuable I was. I really didn't see all the great things inside of me until I was aligned to that right woman. And having, as we had talked about a few weeks ago, having that queen-like woman speak those things into your life that aligned to everything that you thought, you felt, the direction you were going. So I'd have to end it with that. I mean, men, seek alignment. Seek alignment. If it doesn't align to your vision, if it doesn't align to your passions, if it doesn't align to what you feel the Lord has called you to, you're wasting time. There's some good things I could have been indulged in, but I'm ready to, in my life, to give up the good things for that great thing. That's where I'm at.
Love it. Love it. Big bless us.
I think through the process of reading through this book, it's really for me. I had done the work, so it's been a pat on the back, but it's also opened up opportunities to reach out to other men, to let them know, but also it let me know that I was on track, doing the work on yourself and not running from where we have to remember that it says, out of darkness, he spoke and said, let there be light. Wasn't out of the light, it was out of the darkness. Run from those places in your life as a man. Only gonna go somewhere else to make that place dark. When you find yourself in a dark place as a man, anchor down, do the work, and the light will come.
Love it. I love it. So there's one last thing here, because this has come through a couple times. So We got to address it. But Amber Lucretius, she said, question I hear and have read quite often: men are simple, men are simple, men are simple. Are the men on this panel simple? Inquiring minds want to know. Renisha replied, simple meaning uncomplicated. And she said, simple as in how they would define simple to them, maybe. Um, AB, you're the author of the book, so I want to close that on you with this. Can you answer that question for us? And as the author, what is the main takeaway, just one or two main takeaways that you want to make sure people get from this book? And then I'm going to ask you something. I got to put this on the spot. There may be some people who are watching right now who have not had the opportunity to read the book. At the beginning of the series, you stated if they gave the email address that you may be able to give them a copy of the book. Are they still able to receive that, or do they need to go? Okay, so listen. If you've enjoyed this conversation and you do not have a copy of the book and you want to see what we've been talking about, drop your email in the comments section. We'll get you a free ebook so that you can see exactly what all this is about. You can also go to our YouTube channel at Elevating Men and catch up on the entire series. We've done 5 of these live streams specifically about this book, and so there's a ton of content for you to enjoy. Drew.
Are men simple? Yes, men are simple. Do men want to be simple? No, because God is complex and men want to be God. The crux of this book is a man's battle when he begins to understand that he is not enough. And then what he discovers is that he has always been enough. He just never put in the work. He just never committed to all that he was. He never knew what love was. Love is a verb that goes outward. It's not something that you look for. You're not looking for love. You're looking to give love.
Thank you. Listen, fellas, I appreciate all the commentary. This has been an excellent series. Again, for those of you who are just tuning in, go to our YouTube channel at Elevating Men. Make sure you click subscribe so you can catch all of our content and put it on your calendar. Put a reminder. Next Monday, we'll be back with a whole brand new conversation that you guys are going to enjoy. And so we appreciate each and every one of you. I got to talk to you guys about this one more time because I don't want you to forget this Saturday. If you have any men in your life who need to be around other brothers that are elevating, that are getting better, that are learning, healing, and growing, invite them out to the Man Cave Prayer Breakfast. We do this every month on the second Saturday. It's 100% free. Breakfast is provided, and we always have excellent speakers. We've got Brother Michael Long this month. We've also got Big Unk. He's going to be talking to us, as well as LaRon Barnes. They don't want to miss out, so make sure you share this. And it doesn't have to be an adult man. We even do teenage boys, and so if you have some boys in your life that need to be there, make sure that you get them there. It's at the Oasis Church in Raytown, Missouri. All the information is there on the screen. If you can't see that well enough, make sure that you inbox the Elevating Men page. We'll get you the information that you need. Drew.
AL. AL has a bad tendency of not asking for help. For you all in the listening audience, on September 28th, we are putting together this town hall. He has done a phenomenal job.
Phenomenal.
However, the goal is for us to help. If anyone wants to find out how they can help, inbox him, please, because there are ways that you can help. You can help raise funds because we're paying for this basically, if not for sponsors, out of pocket. But thanks to our sponsors, this has been covered. But we want to do even more. So please inbox him to find out how you can help. Please.
Thank you. So we actually are looking for volunteers. We're expecting between 300 and 400 people. And so there's a lot of things that need to be facilitated. We have 2 events actually going on. So there's a town hall and then there's a big networking event afterwards. We do need help with volunteers. And so definitely inbox me if you feel that you may be available. The hours are from 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. on September 28th. 2 last announcements. We got a lot going on in Elevated Men. Y'all need to keep up with us. And so this Thursday, we have Dr. Travis Bryant. He has a course called Managing Masculinity. And so this is going to be a private event. We're only letting a few men in, but I tell you, the content is really good. Inbox me, and I will let you know if we've hit capacity or not. But that's going to be this Thursday at 7 p.m. Also, Sunday mornings, 9 a.m. to 9:30, we have motivational moments with LaRon Barnes. He's a part of Elevating Men. He's a life coach and motivational speaker. If you've never seen an episode and you want to just kind of see what it's about before this Sunday, go to our YouTube channel and you will find that there. There's some other things that I can't even tell y'all yet. So stay tuned. Keep following Elevating Men. We are literally just getting started. And so I appreciate each and every one of you. I'm going to play that commercial for the event on the exit, and then I'm going to drop the link in the description so that you can register. It's 100% free. We want to make sure that we see you there. Thanks for tuning in, and we'll see you again next time. Hi, my name is A.L. Johnson with Elevating Men. There's a mental health crisis in Kansas City, and on Saturday, September 28th from 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. at the Mohart Multipurpose Center, we're going to have a mental health town hall. The goal is for us to bring together mental health advocates, professionals, lawmakers, and the general public to address these issues. We need to see you there.